Making changes not only requires a resolve to initiate the change and then stay with it, but it takes a lot of energy. Aloha, I'm Dr. Lunar Knoll. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe so you get all of my latest information. Today, we're talking about the energy required to make a change. So think of a child. When a child first learns to walk, it takes a ton of energy, and they take one step and they're wobbling and then they fall down. Sometimes they fall forward, sometimes they fall back. Then the next time they take 2 steps, and then the next time they can hardly get up. Well, the same thing is true for us. And it takes a lot of energy to make those changes. It takes a lot of energy to be able to go forward 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. We really have to concentrate on that. A child is really focusing on each step that they take. And then soon, they're putting a few steps together without a whole lot of thought. But then when they start trying to run, whap, they go right down, because that's new again. It's building on each step. Now, as adults, most of us walk without even concentrating on it. We just walk. We just take steps. It doesn't require much energy. We can run. It doesn't take much energy. Sometimes we have an accident. We have to relearn. We go back through that process of taking a lot of energy. The same thing is true, though, when we make other changes in our lives. When you first start, it takes a lot of conscious thought to get you there. And then, all of a sudden, some things just become second nature. Think about when you learn to write and you're making an A and, oh, it doesn't look so great. And now you make an A and you don't even think about it. Whole different ball game. It becomes much smoother, much easier. Each change that we make, it takes energy and it takes space to assimilate that into our lives. We've talked about change can happen as fast as we can allow it, and it can. But how fast can we truly assimilate each one of those changes into our lives? We don't want to feel like we've been plugged into that light socket. We want the change to happen to where we can assimilate it. It begins to feel natural. It feels good. It doesn't require so much concentration, so much thought. And as we start out with change, be gentle with yourself. You wouldn't berate a child for falling when they're just learning to walk. You congratulate them. You're proud of them for the little bit that they've gained. Well, be the same with yourself. Be proud of you with each step that you take. Be proud that you initiated a change. Be proud every time you continue that change. Congratulate yourself. Pat yourself on the back. Pick yourself up and give yourself a big hug and a kiss, just like you would a kid. Just like you would that little kid learning to walk 1 step and then another. Do the same thing with yourself. Be gentle. Have a lot of love and pride for yourself. And have compassion for yourself when you don't get it right the first time. Or maybe you get it right 3 times in a row and then you stumble. It's okay. That's part of life. That's part of why we're here, is to learning to make those changes, learning to be different in the world. So give yourself a break. And as we discard old beliefs and begin to open and learn new things, we begin to change, we begin to adapt new beliefs. We're giving ourselves permission to be different in the world. We're giving ourselves permission to make those changes. Making changes requires not only initiating that change, which is a masculine energy, but also sustaining that change, which is a feminine energy. We need both. We need the masculine. It's not all masculine. We also need the feminine. We've got to flow between those two. And as long as our resolve stays strong, we're likely to be able to sustain the change, to stick with it, to stay with it long enough that it completely integrates into our life, into our being. It becomes part of us. It becomes second nature. However, when we're fatigued, when we're tired, we start fighting change. Because when we get tired, we want to go back to what's comfortable. So give yourself permission to rest as you change. And also monitor your expectations. I call it expectation management. But if you expect yourself to be perfect all the time, not going to happen. So let's go back to that child learning to walk. They do it several times, they keep gaining, and then they get tired. When any of us is tired, we're not going to be at our best. That's when we need to take a step back. We need to rest. That's when we come back in, the contraction period, give ourselves a chance to rest before we approach it again. So give yourself permission to rest, just as you are gentle with yourself. Both of those things are key ingredients to any change. You give yourself permission to change the world, and then you lower your expectations for right away. Don't expect to master it immediately. No one's going to. Give yourself a chance. Be gentle with yourself in that process. And then give yourself permission to rest. Give yourself permission to assimilate each change. Give yourself permission to become someone different. If you enjoyed this video, you might also enjoy this next one. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for being here as we continue growing and healing together. I hope to see you soon. Aloha.